Okay. Well, first off, Jim, thanks for coming over. I appreciate it, and we certainly like supporting the SPY, and will continue to do so. So thank you for that. Um, you know, you and I have talked before. Community banks are so important to the fabric, along with churches and small businesses in a community. They're truly the fabric of it. This community bank in particular has been around for 39 years, and soon to be the only headquartered community bank in Kent County. That means a lot. I know that means a lot for a number of reasons, mainly because the decisions are made in this office, or the decisions are made in the office down the road, or down the hallway, or the decisions are made in the office behind you. We're not going to see that anymore from our bank here. So we're excited about it. There's a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace, but as you and I were talking earlier, I think you have to dig deep into the numbers. You can't look at the headlines and say, "Oh my gosh, the tariffs are killing you." I don't think you can do that. Headlines just came in this morning that the U.S. economy shrank by 0.3%. It's the first time that happened since 2022. But you look at it, and the reasonings why it has shrunk is another thing. For example, two basic reasons why the economy has shrunk. One being imports increased by 41%. So that tells me the companies were getting ahead of the tariffs and getting more goods and supplies in. That increased by 41%. But the good news is that government spending decreased by almost 2%. I would think that's a good thing. You look at that, I think that's a good thing. So how does it impact there are other things underneath that. For example, consumer savings is up, wages are up, business capital or companies increasing their interest in the United States is up by 20%, 21%. That's a big number. So you look at the headline, say, okay, this is not good, but look at the underlying factors. Locally, how it impacts us, I really don't know yet. I think it's going to be interesting to see where these tariffs take us. You see a lot of countries coming in now and really negotiating, as you and I were talking about. This is all about China. You can have the 150 or whatever, 160 other countries, but it's about China. And hopefully we'll get a trade or an even trade balance because it's needed. Again, I don't know if it's good or bad, but we'll just have to wait and see. I like the quote that the chairman of the Federal Reserve said, Chairman Powell said about interest rates. He said, "I'm not certain what we're going to do with interest rates. A year from now, we'll be able to tell." I think that's the same with the tariffs. A year from now, we're going to be able to tell. First off, a community bank is defined, which I don't agree with, but it's defined as a bank with $5 billion or less assets. A community bank to me is somebody that's catering to Chestertown or catering to Kent County. That's a community bank. I think it's so important for the community. The impact of interest rates obviously impacts us, and it impacts our consumers and our businesses. For example, probably half of our customers are happy when interest rates increase because they're getting more on their deposits. And then the other half aren't too happy because it's costing them more from the loan side. So that's how we're impacted here. And obviously a lot of what we do here is driven by real estate, whether it's farmers or residential real estate. And I don't see a decrease in the market yet here. And I don't project one. If there is one, it will be a very small one. But I just don't see it. And as you and I were talking earlier, I think inventory is picking up on the real estate side. But the main reason why it's not at levels where it was 5 or 6 years ago is because people are married to their interest rate. They don't want to move their house because they're at 3%, or they don't want to move because they're at a 3% interest rate, as opposed to what they're going to get today at 6.5%, 7%. So I think the local economy is doing okay. The farmers had a rough year last year. Hopefully this year will be a good year. But from a community bank standpoint, we're here to support them. And that's critical, and I mentioned earlier that we're the only, or soon to be the only headquartered bank in Kent County. I think that means a lot to Kent County people. We're here for them. We have, some people don't like dealing with banks that are located in Massachusetts or Pennsylvania or North Carolina or New York. They want to be able to come in and say, look you in the eye and say, what do you have to offer? And then they can come in and say, here's my financial information, here's whatever, and there could be a really robust, good conversation. Yeah. Well, I think Chestertown has become a secondary type city to St. Michael's. People used to look at St. Michael's for real estate. I think it's happening here now as well. And of course, you have people from Philadelphia and New York and New Jersey coming down here to be on the water, and
a lot of second homes.
A lot of second homes. I'm going on my 5th-year anniversary here, which certainly time flies. And I've made some very, very dear friends, friends that I think I'll have for life. This community, most of the time, is very welcoming, and that's good. It's good for myself and my family and anybody that wants to come here. But I have to tell you about this bank, and I'll leave it with this. This bank is unique. We do the majority of our lending, and whenever I say the majority, over 90% of our lending in Kent County. So it's important that we continue our deposits coming in so that we can lend to people in Kent County, whether it's businesses, farmers, consumers that want to buy homes, or whatever it may be. So that's a critical part of our infrastructure and the way we grow and in the way we help the community. Like I said, this community has been terrific. I belong to several organizations in the community, and I think everybody has the best of heart for the community.